Hello once again, people. Welcome to yet another episode of Seeking Shamblers. So this time around, we're checking a level made on October 15th, 1996 by Phil R. Hall, someone I don't recognize at all. He made the level Hallowed Ground. It seems to be a deathmatch-based level. But he also says single player. Yes, but why? So, I guess this means he thinks it's a single player level. I doubt we'll have actual single player in it. That's kind of the mindset. But he says yes. So, yeah. As usual, there's one of these terrible things that's probably going to have to be a deathmatch only level. Anyway, let's see here. This level was made with Worldcraft. So, we definitely get to see another level made with Worldcraft. We haven't seen enough of those. So, here's one more of them. Once, when the clans were still young, there were times of disputes, feuds, and war could shake the very nature of the clan society. What clans? A place was needed for righteous vengeance, and thus came the hallowed grounds. Places where the clans could avenge the wrongs against them, and where mere men could become gods. I guess they're talking about the clans, like Quake clans or something like that. Anyway, he also praised this Walnut Creek, whoever that is, and its software, and the FTP site of ftpcdrom.com. Special thanks to Jay Wilbur and John Carmack of id Software for answering all my manner of silly questions. The authors of the QMap spec documents, without which this level would have been impossible. John Lade, for being a cool dude in his own right. Wedge and Kernoth, the Quake Command dudes, for being way mega cool and making all those really cool add-ons, and for answering all my other silly questions. Also a special bite me to Actura Software, who deserve nothing but contempt for even trying to get away with that Eternal Darkness CD. Yeah, basically, Eternal Darkness was one of the first shovelware compilation CDs that existed, and because of that, it got a lot of hate, because it would basically rip off a lot of people's works, put them onto a CD, and you were expected to buy it. Then we basically got this, which did the exact same thing, and now his level's on it. Brilliant! Anyway, trifles make perfection, and no perfection is so trifle. Let's see here. He doesn't know any bugs, and it took about an hour to make, so that's not really promising. Anyway, other than that, he feels a feeble attempt to prohibit the outright theft of this map BSP by dirty, low-down, double-dealing, backstabbing, larcenous, perverted, and unjust fast buck companies who would put this level on a CD collection and sell it for way too much without his permission. You know what he's talking about, don't you? The following rambling section has been added with a lengthy freaking copyright section because he wants to prevent people from doing this. And now it's here on a shareware copyright thing called Quake'em. So I'm not sure he succeeded in doing anything. Individuals of any nature, be they singular persons or any collection of persons, may use this level, whole or any part, as a base to build additional levels, provided I am acknowledged in the credits of their final product, and that the use of this level, either whole or in part, conforms to these provisions. The BSP and or map, or any BSP map constructed with this map BSP, whole or in part, may be distributed only over the internet and or BBS systems, and only if this entire accompanying text file accompanies it. You are not authorized to put this BSP or map, which I have both, either whole or in part, on any CD, compact disc, DVD, digital versatile disc, or distribute in any way for profit or any charge of any kind or amount. Nor may you store this map BSP on any form of transferable, reproducible, or recoverable storage retrievable media, with the exception of personal computer hard drives, floppy disk devices, or no-charge FTP sites. Such as that, without his express written prior permission. So wait, I can't put this on a USB drive without his permission? That's basically the basis of what I kind of got here, because he didn't say USB drives. Then again, I imagine that's because this was made in 1996 before all that was kind of there. And I'm assuming floppy disk device is kind of following in that same mindset. It's essentially just trying to prevent it from being people who would put it on full out CDs and sell it. AKA, you know, what we kind of got it from. Yeah. Well, thank God they kind of archived it in this way. That's like I said, that's the one good thing about shovelware. Shovelware in 1996 was a terrible thing. It was horrible to have happened, to basically be ripping off everyone and just to force people to buy money for something that basically already existed. But I feel like it was almost a good archive service in a way. It's kind of weird, but if you notice, these files I think have lasted a lot longer on discs and like shovelware than they have on the internet. I think a lot of like Quake files specifically have like been lost as sands of time. Doom World and Doom-based forums in general have kept a lot of Doom levels intact. You have lost some, but also you have kept a lot. Quake is very, very funky in the fact that you have like entire sections that have been lost to history. And I can imagine people like Quad Addicted and a lot of those different sites like that have gotten a lot of their files from this type of shovelware. I can't imagine them just having existed by default. I think they existed years later after like Quake had kind of like come and gone. So a lot of these shovelware levels probably were already getting removed from sites. You gotta think the Stomping Grounds was already dead by the 2000s. A lot of the good Quake sites were kind of gone. You recently had the GameSpy go down, so you lost that one. Needless to say, a lot of what used to be existent for Quake, a lot of like the old historical stuff, is really dead. It's really, really weird, but yeah, it's like a period of history that you wouldn't have access to in any form or shape. Besides some fragmented files maybe you could find like use an archive, or like just maybe the ones that, you know, maybe sites that still existed, say like some GeoCities account that was like transferred somewhere else and has a couple of the links still. But yeah, by and far you wouldn't get a lot of these levels, I think, without shovelware. I think in a way shovelware is the grand savior of Quake levels. Which is a really weird mindset to think after how horrible it was and how reviled they were back in 1996. And like I said, don't get me wrong, in 1996 it made sense for people not to like this. It served no immediate gratification purpose, and if you're not really caring about archiving this stuff, you also wouldn't really care about shovelware and find it kind of heinous that you're basically forced to buy stuff that other people could get for free. But, as said, I feel like, in a way, this has kind of preserved it for a bit longer, at least been able to bring it back in some form. I'm for the archivists and stuff like that. Because a lot of the sites, I don't think really existed by the time really archivists got more interested in it. Like I said, nowadays, if you were to have like disk rot and various things like that, you at least have had people putting it as ISO files, putting it on different areas. You're getting a lot more of a serious thing to try and preserve this stuff. Back in 1996, there wasn't these type of capabilities. I don't really see it being something. I think a lot more would have been lost to history if not for the shovelware. Anyway, that is my random rant about all this. But anyway, let's go back to the copyright, because I was curious about all this. Under no circumstances is this map, BSP, either whole or in part, to be placed on any collection of similar maps, BSP files, or on any form of storage media, with the exceptions as detailed in Provision 2, for any reason without express detailed written permission prior. This map is a unique creation of Phil R. Hall, and you, the user, do accept this as a true and honest statement in good faith. You also do accept that this map BSP be the sole property of Phil R. Hall, except for the textures used herein, which remain the property of id Software, and therefore subject to all the terms and conditions of the United States Office of Patents and Trademarks, as well as the Berne Convention. This guy's getting legal like crazy. This map BSP is granted all legal protection under U.S. and international copyright law. Also, additionally, at no time may this map or BSP, either whole or in part, be stored on, played, or used in any manner by a commercial internet server without his express prior written permission. Yeah, I guess back then there were commercial internet servers. They were trying to make everything for Quake commercial at the time in 1996. It makes sense. Quake was all the rage. Try and make some money off of it. So you basically end up seeing like level editors like Worldcraft. Worldcraft actually was a premium level editor. You had to like pay a subscription monthly to use Worldcraft. Same thing with what's it called? Quake Map. You had to do the same exact thing when that one became a full studio software thing. Yeah, there was a lot of weird premium stuff at the time that nowadays is totally treated as free because no one really cares about Quake anymore. But back in the day, some of the stuff was high premium stuff that you really couldn't get without paying money for. Kind of like Laura Bayer's Doom, except less terrible. Anyway, let's see here. At all times, this map BSP remains the intellectual property of the author, Phil R. Hall, and at no time or through any means will a transfer of ownership or rights take place. Any exception or event, however unlikely, that id Software should wish to utilize this map BSP in any future products that they shall undertake. At the time of this map BSP being included in authorized id Software title, patch, release, or product, all ownership, titles, responsibility, and property rights regarding this map BSP shall convert to and become bestowed upon id Software, provided that he is granted acknowledgement and credit for this map BSP and the credits of the appropriate text file or document that accompanies id Software's release that should contain, whole or in part, this map BSP. So he thinks for some reason that they would become part of id Software's thing, perhaps. And in that case, he would give it to them, but he expects credit for that. Interesting. All the logos, graphics, executables, programs, textures, and or other material originated by id Software remain the sole property of id Software. By virtue of this being a user-designed level, the textures contained in this map BSP are used with explicit permission of id Software and may not be utilized for any profit or charge whatsoever without the direct express prior written permission of id Software and payment of royalties and fees such as nature determined to be correct by id Software. Look at like licenseinfo.txt and compats.txt on the Quake shareware or retail distribution CD. Alternatively, you can also contact Jay Wilbur directly at id Software if further clarification is required. Alright, so that's our freaking lengthy copyright. Just showing how these shovelware CDs have led to map designers becoming absolutely paranoid and writing lengthy documentation to try and protect their rights. And then, how much they were blatantly ignored. Like I said, this thing was put on a CD regardless of all of that. So, I don't think this place was ever sued, was it? Well, if you ever watch this one map designer dude, you can sue him, I assume. So, yeah. Anyway, this level was made with Worldcraft. It is acceptable to distribute this map only over the internet and BBS systems for free, and only if this entire accompanying text file accompanies it. By installing, decompressing, playing, and using this map BSP, you acknowledge and accept all restrictions and requirements as listed in this accompanying text file, in addition to other legal regulations under federal and state law. Aha! So, not only is he forcing you to accept that you will basically be following the laws and guidelines that are put in this file, but he's also saying you can't have sex with animals, which I find absolutely heinous. Yes, not having sex with a porcupine is really horrible. Anyway, if you don't like or are unwilling to accept any part of the provisions of use contained in this text file, do not use this level. None of these provisions are negotiable. Failure to follow the provisions of this text file in reference to ownership, rights, use, and distribution may result in litigation or other penalties. Actually, a stupid question, but when you started doing things through Quake World, didn't Quake World like automatically download BSP files as well? I know for sure it would download like various skin files and all that, but didn't it download BSP files as well, which would in turn mean that you wouldn't have the documentation being read, and you could basically play this thing without having accepted this whole documentation? That's an interesting point to make. And this being late of 1996, I'm surprised that Quake World wasn't kind of taken into account at this point. I think Quake World came out like a month or so later. I'm trying to remember exactly when the first version of Quake World came out. It might have actually been December. I think the first version was in December of 1996. So I guess there was still that bit of a gap between the two. And needless to say, that totally violated that. Anyway, let's see here. Failure to follow the provisions of this text file in reference to ownership, rights, use, and distribution of this map BSP file may result in litigation and other penalties. Comments as to design and construction of this map BSP are welcome, although he makes no claims as to when or if you will receive a reply. When on the net, he states that the Quake commands high-tech, ultra-plush, Space Needle-like respiratory of luxurious add-ons and patches. You should too! So, what a lengthy file, basically just to tell us this thing is protected under a lot of freaking copyrights for, reasons that really were totally ignored by the shovelware stuff I'm kind of touching right now. So, needless to say, this has been a massive waste of time. But it also shows a rather interesting bit of history in how these shovelware things kind of affected people and trying to make them more secure and that kind of not really succeeding. Kind of like id Software trying to protect their texture files and that not really succeeding based on the fact that they're transferred in BSPs. Yeah, trying to protect Quake texture files in any way, shape, or form would be pretty ridiculous. If they were to say anything about like texture files, it wouldn't make really any sense. For the sole reason that you can get them through any BSP files that were included totally separate from Quake. As long as you have the ability to rip a BSP file, you basically get all the holy texture files in there. And being that there's hundreds upon thousands of these levels, you can basically recreate every single texture that exists in the original game. So, yeah, needless to say, I can't imagine id Software being able to keep many trademarks or copyrights on their texture files. Maybe some of the other stuff, like actual physical models, but the texture files themselves, no, those have kind of been ripped by other things a lot. Anyway, needless to say, I think we're ready to go. Let's launch this thing up and see what in God's name we have kind of got going for us. I, of course, have things incorrectly set up, because that is how I always work. Not having things set up right whatsoever, because DOSBots is a nightmare. Anyway, let's swap this over. That's simple enough. And like I said, it takes 2 seconds to swap over, but it's annoying when I'm trying to do this and just trying to get a nice seamless experience and something suddenly interrupts me because I have to change that over. Anyway, there we are with my proper level. Let's see here. Hallowed? Hallowed ground. So, we spawned this level of which has nothing. AKA, single player level, this is not. You should have said it wasn't a single player level, but because he said it was, I have to document it as such, which is really terrible. I hate when people do that. Also, what's up with the lighting here? Like, this is pitch black. Look at all this. It's like a flat plane where most things are totally black. This is terrible. I find this level really, really terrible. The edges aren't even, like, protected, so you can, like, totally fall off and, like, die. this is a really, really bare bones level, people. For all that copyright, all that stuff we did. Oh, look, yellow armor. This really was really bare bones. Like, I think it's more bare bones than most of the stuff we've touched. And yet, we had a freaking lengthy copyright. So, yeah, you just run around. There's, a bunch of random stuff scattered about. This is, like I said, one plane. One flat line plane around the skybots. I could have probably made this level myself in a couple minutes. Which is pretty sad, thinking I'm not really that good at level design much. So, yeah. Needless to say, not the most exciting levels at all. But yeah, you can blow up these radioactive containers that exist. In deathmatch, these would be worthless because they wouldn't respawn. But, yeah, you basically just run around. You have a bunch of stuff scattered around. I said there's really not much to do here. And it's weird that its documentation accidentally said single player, yes. Okay, this looks like a teleport. It maybe leads to these upper floors. Or it leads to total death. Either way, it's a great way to go. Because I need to get off this terrible plane of existence. So anyway, you run around. You, collect things. I imagine when I do this walkthrough, I'm probably going to, like, go up and down and up and down. Probably just, like, collecting things in rows or something like that. That's probably the best way to tackle this type of level. So you see these yellow armors by the edges. So, yeah. I've seen this isn't really the most exciting of levels at all. I can't imagine anyone being excited about this level. See, the thing is about short levels like this, they might be easy to make. But I never see, like, one-room maps like this ever getting popular in deathmatch terms. It's really weird. Everyone loves to make them because of how easy they are. But I can't tell you a single time one has become popular. Even, like, American McGee's on DM4 ended up becoming popular mainly because there was a bunch of different rooms. Not because it was a single map room. Single map rooms? I said I'm not really sure a single example I can really give. It said they were all symmetrical, kinda. We're seeing a bunch of, like, nails and rockets and random garbage. Oddly enough, we're seeing a lack of general guns besides a nail gun, double-barreled shotgun. I think there's a grenade launcher somewhere. I think there was on the other side, right? Yeah, I'm not even sure what I'm picking up or not here. It's all the same. All feels the same. It's bloody deja vu to the extreme people. There's really, like I said, not much you can even say. And I'm also curious, I'm picking up cells. Is there a Thunderbolt? Is there a bloody Thunderbolt? In fact, speaking of which, is there a rocket launcher? Might be on the upper rafters. I think there's some guns up there. That might be where they are. We'll see when I get up there, because I assume dropping into this pit in the middle will do one of two things. It will either horribly kill me, or... Oh, this is an elevator. Okay. So you can pick up the pentagram protection. And then what? Then you have a pentagram. I hope you enjoyed the pentagram, people. Stupid question. Well, I have the pentagram, and because it doesn't really matter, I'm going to dive off this level. Ta-da! Look at that. I'm not dying at all. When I lose this pentagram, it's gonna be horrible, but also I'm like walled in from like going over there, so good luck. It's like no way out of this. But it was interesting to see that the pentagram could protect me from death for a bit. So yeah, that's basically that. Like I said, not much to this level. You basically run around, you pick up some random garbage, you kind of go from there. It's really not that spectacular, is it? There's some of the basic guns. You hop over this way. You see, you hear the sound of a Quake guy hopping over and over repeatedly, because that's a great sound to hear. And it isn't quite Quake unless you hear hers a bunch of times. Plus, I need to kind of get back some degree of the ammo that I lost on that suicidal charge. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much, but it'd be nice to kind of gather some stuff. The super nail gun. Oh yeah, I have it. Okay. I think that's about everything. Oh look, more cells. To the cells! Anything else? I think that's about everything. Are those cells? I think they are. So hard to tell in the DOSBots version. But yeah, cells. Okay. Those are cells. Anything else? Or is that about it? Doesn't look like anything over that way. Is that cells or something? Those look like rockets over there. Okay, cells and rockets. That's what I wanted to see. So we gather these and we head back. And now we go through the hole. The hole in the middle of the ground. The hole in the middle of the ground. The hole in the middle of the ground. Okay. So, we were trying to figure out what I'm doing in my life. Let's see here. There's a grenade launcher. Again. Oops, I fell off. Of course I did. Okay. Come back on here. And, let's go down this one. Grab the pentagram. A pentagram. It's a way to be a don't. I have no idea where it's going with that, people. I really don't. But let's see here. Head down this way. I think that's a thunderbolt. Yep, there it is. Okay, so this map does have a thunderbolt. I'm assuming the other side, the far, like, opposite side, has a rocket launcher based on symmetry logic. So you come back up here. I think there's a ring of shadows. Yep. Okay, now we have the ring of shadows. Can we run and jump to that platform, or will we fail? Yeah, you can't make it. Had to try, people. Okay, let's see here. Let's waste that quad damage. Does this lead to a rocket launcher? I assume so. Yep, there it is. Okay, there's all the guns in the level. Now I can blow up stuff like that. You can see I can basically cause splash damage, explosions, galore. Like I said, there's really not much to this, but... explosions! Anyway, I'm bored of this level. There's really not much to be doing here. As I said, it's a very flat plane of existence level. There's really... it's designed with symmetry. It's different stuff on each side, but at the end of the day, it's really just a single one-room map that's really uninteresting to touch. But yeah, that's basically what we got this time around. So, with that in mind, I'm not sure why I'm doing this. Thank y'all for watching. I guess I'll see you all next time. Hopefully it's something with a bit less reading and a bit more playing.